Hey there everyone, and I thank you guys so much for tuning in to yet another episode of my orchid adventures, where today we are going to be focused on how to bring the Catasetum type orchids out of dormancy, or at least the method I have elected. Okay, so there are so many different rules and regulations and methods and ways of bringing your Catasetum orchids out of dormancy. And I guess what you have to decide is what type of growing conditions you're growing your orchids in and the type of grower you are, so that you can decide which method is best suited for you. And with that in mind, I do have to explain that I am quite a heavy waterer. That's right, I am heavy-handed when it comes to watering my orchids, and I don't always follow the rules and regulations when it comes to dormancy, hibernation, and the dry spell that you are supposed to be putting your orchids in. Because as you guys know, there are some orchids that definitely need a rest period or a hibernation period. And that was the case with my dendrobium orchids. I just definitely could not completely terminate watering the orchid. So with that in mind, I had to come up with a way that I wouldn't be so tempted or so eager to cheat with my Catasetum type orchids, because indeed I am one that will sneak a drink. At least sneak a drink for the Catasetums. Okay, so how in the world did I decide to bring my Catasetum orchids out of its dormancy period? Dun-dun-dun-dun. Well, let me show you. And here it is, folks. This is the method that I elected to use with my Catasetum type orchids. Now, if you can remember in my past video, this is a semi-terrarium method that I used to rescue some of my orchids in the past. And I thought this would be an incredible way to also try to encourage and induce the new growth of the Catasetum orchid. And because I have such a heavy hand when it comes to watering orchids, I definitely did not want to take the risk of rotting out the roots or the new growth on this Catasetum. And so what I did here, folks, is I made a simple terrarium using a plastic soda bottle to encourage this new growth by creating humidity and moisture to promote new growth to grow on this Catasetum orchid. Now, the best thing about this, folks, is you can be ensured that you are not going to be giving this Catasetum orchid too much water, and you can also see exactly what is going on with the root system and also the new growth to ensure that there is no rotting that is taking place. And if you guys did not see the video where I create these terrariums, I'm going to go ahead and post the annotation right here, and you can go ahead and click and view that video also. And what I did in this method, folks, is as soon as I seen that nubbin growing, I went ahead and put the Catasetum in this terrarium. And of course, I filled the terrarium up right here. And the actual Catasetum is sitting on this plastic cap. It's actually the bottom half of another bottle. And of course, I went ahead and poked so many holes in there so that moisture can indeed rise to the Catasetum orchid. And as you can see here, folks, I actually left the cap off of this bottle. And this is just to allow the air to circulate within this terrarium right here. And also, if we take a close look at the bottom half, you're seeing that water that I filled this container up with. But you're also seeing good spacing in between so as to ensure that the water will not drench into this area at all. And again, this is just to allow the moisture or the humidity within this container. So if this gets any type of moisture at all, it's due to the humidity and not because the water is getting into it directly. So that is a way, again, that this is creating enough moisture, but it's not going to overwater this Catasetum. So what I do is I let this sit, and every so now and again I will remove this top portion right here, just like that, and let it get air as well. And let's go ahead and take a closer look at the little baby nubbin. As you can see, even though the nubbin is not that big, look at all of these healthy roots just growing everywhere. Indeed, this is a healthy, bouncing baby nubbin. And even though this bouncing baby, itsy bitsy little nubbin is quite adorable, there is quite an unusual oddity about this little guy. And let's take a closer look. If you will see here, folks, there appears to be a small nubbins growing on this small nubbins. How peculiar is that? So I'm curious to see exactly what this little bump, this little nubbins that's growing on the other baby nubbins, to see exactly what transpires. Isn't that quite awkward? And in the beginning, folks, this actually had a smaller nubbins right underneath, but then all of these roots grew right over. So I'm thinking it's kapooey in regards to the other nubbins underneath. But again, there appears to be another growth on this other nubbin. So we'll have to stay tuned and find out exactly what transpires with that. Dun-dun-dun-dun. And let me not forget to mention that this Catasetum right here actually produced 2 of them. That's right, you are looking at identical twins. How adorable is that? Like coochie coochie coo. So indeed, folks, this is my personal method on how I elected to bring my Catasetum type orchids out of the dormancy period. Now, of course, knowing the type of grower that I am and the conditions that I have, this is what was best for me. So what I'm gonna do now, folks, is I'm gonna wait about a week or 2 before I pot this beautiful family of Catasetums into a pot of sphagnum moss. And then after that, we're gonna have to see exactly what transpires from that point on. So definitely, guys, stay tuned for more and wish us all some luck. And if you would like to try this method, feel free, and of course, let me know exactly how it works out for you. I thank you guys so much for tuning into yet another orchid adventure with me, Maria Young. And if you guys like this video, please be sure to give it 2 thumbs up. And if you want to see more videos such as these, please be sure to subscribe. And also, if you guys want to join me on my Facebook adventures, you can do that as well at My Orchid Adventures. And if you guys want to contact me via snail mail, you can do that also as well by contacting me at the following address right here. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and as you guys already know, I love you all. Mwah!